Okay. Pen at the ready. I see these titles of these before. I don't read these, but I see the titles and I'm like, oh, this might be a good one. I don't always know, but it sounds good. Inspired out of Romans chapter 1, Paul was set apart for the gospel of God. Holy, my input there. Set apart. The three-wheeled taxi from Sri Lanka, known as tuk-tuks, are convenient and delightful mode of transportation for many. I know a man from Sri Lanka, nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. He works for Amazon. We have an Amazon place here. And he manages the tech support, this department. And I said, oh, you must be one of the smart computer tech guys. He says, no, I'm not. I'm just a manager. I don't know anything about that stuff. But he manages the group. Real nice guy, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Notice tuk-tuks are a convenient and delightful mode of transport for many. Lorraine, a resident of the capital of Colombo, also realized that they're a mission field. Hopping onto a tuk-tuk one day, she found the friendly driver more than happy to engage in conversation about religion. The next time, she told herself, she would talk to the driver about the good news, the gospel. The book of Romans starts with Paul declaring himself as set apart for the gospel of God. It's in Romans. The Greek word for gospel is evangelion. Evangelion, I might be pronouncing it wrong, which means good news. Paul was essentially saying that his main purpose was to tell God's good news. Remember what I said in the past about being in a BLM protest or this thing or that or whatever the deal is? We have a different agenda. The bigger picture. What is the good news? Romans 1:3 says that the gospel of God is regarding his Son. The good news is Jesus. It's God who wants to tell the world that Jesus came to save us from sin and death, and he's chosen us to be his mode of communication. What a humbling effect. So once we preach the good news, and once once we've preached the good news to someone else, they pick it up and they do the same thing. It's the original multi-level marketing. You have Jesus and the 12 disciples below. Sharing the good news is a privilege all believers in Jesus have. Sharing the good news is a privilege all believers in Jesus have been given. We've received grace to call others to this faith. God has set us apart to carry the exciting news of the gospel to those around us, whether on tuk-tuks or wherever we are. May we, like Lorraine, look for opportunities in our daily life to tell others the good news that is Jesus. What barriers do you experience in sharing your faith? Or maybe you haven't. What talents or interests can you use to present the good news? Jesus, thank you for making me your mouthpiece for your good news. May your spirit give me the courage and love to share about you today. I would never tell someone, say, hey, you just need to get a Bible, go out there and just preach on the street corner. People are called to do something like that, compelled, right? But I would never tell, well, you're really not doing anything unless you're out there, pounding pavement and sharing the good news, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Kind of like, no disrespect to them, like Jehovah's Witnesses. They physically get out there and do their thing. Or missionaries, groups that do that sort of thing. And I really admire their courage to do that. But I think it's unless you're called to do that, you should have enough knowledge of what it is you're talking about. Meaning you've read your Bible, you've studied your Bible, not trying to figure it out, but if you know what's in what the content is, what is said, what did Jesus say? Okay. The Spirit itself will educate you from there. You don't have to try to figure this thing out. But opportunities will come where you'll be put in a position and you'll find yourself talking about the gospel and you don't know when you started. You'll walk away from a conversation thinking, where'd that come from? Okay, so I don't think anybody should. I don't think you should go out there tomorrow with a Bible on the street corner and start preaching at people. I don't think that's very successful unless you're called to that. If you're compelled to do that, from above. But if you should praying, reading, meditating on it, these opportunities will come where you'll be put in positions to share the gospel. And sometimes it might be tricky. You'll catch yourself saying, "Do I really want to do this?" And you just go with it. When the Spirit puts it on you to do something, you'll do it. But you know that, oh, this is the time, and it's not something you've tried to conjure up yourself or something. Well, I'm going to go from this time to this time and do this. You don't have to do that. You need to know you need to have the material in you, and that's reading, prayer, and meditation. And then you get used like a tool, and that's what you're to be doing. Anyway, it was set apart. Love you. God bless.